Hola, María.
Hola.
María. Hola, María.
Okay.
Ok, perfecto. ¿Me oís?
Yes.
Sí.
Vale, ya está.
Sí, te oímos.
Okay, let's start then. Hello, good morning, everyone. This is Manuel Velasco from Aquatec Suez, co-chair of the URCC conference. I would like to welcome you all to the Urban Resilience in a Context of Climate Change conference. We have 2 days ahead of us packed with sessions and discussions, so let's start straight away, okay? First of all, I would like to give the floor for the welcome session to Manuel Valdés, Deputy Manager on Mobility and Infrastructures from the Barcelona City Council. So Manuel, whenever you want, the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Welcome everybody to the opening session of the Urban Resilience in a Context of Climate Change conference. As you know, this is the final conference of the RESCCUE project, and during the next couple of days, you will have the opportunity to learn about these results, as well as the main outcomes of the projects and research areas connected with the topic of climate change. The idea of RESCCUE project was born within the context of collaboration with UN Habitat's Global Resilience Program and some of the institutions and enterprises that supported its implementation when it was launched and established its headquarters in Barcelona back in 2013. The cities of Lisbon and Bristol completed the consortium of the project partners, bringing together local governments, universities, and research centers, as well as private utilities providers in each site, and the necessary cross-sectoral and multi-stakeholder approach required for the resilience project. As you know, climate action is a top priority issue in our city. The work we have conducted during these 4 years of collaboration and the results of the project have provided are directly connected with our climate plan and the climate emergency declaration, and have contributed to update the climate projection we had and incorporate them in the city's strategic planning. Barcelona's new sewage master plan, for instance, which is the plan that ultimately determines the investment for the upgrading of the city's sewage system, has already taken them into account. It has also allowed to depend on the impact of the climate change in urban services and improve the knowledge we have on the risk of climate change so that we can anticipate them and act proactively. Risk assessment is a fundamental step in the continuous improvement process of building resilience. In this case, in order to enhance the prevention and adaptation actions that can prepare the city to respond better and minimize the impact of future risk related with the climate change. I would like to end by thanking all of the project partners for their work during these 4 years. The European Commission for supporting and funding this initiative, and also give a special thanks to the teams that has been behind the organization and making it possible. It was twice, because it was the first preparation and this is the second one. So it demonstrated that this commission is very resilient itself. So I hope you to enjoy the rest of the conference, and on behalf of the City Council of Barcelona, welcome to this event.
Okay, thank you, Manuel. So then it's my turn again. Good morning. As I said before, I am Manuel Velasco from Aquatec Suez, co-chair of the URCC conference and coordinator of the RESCCUE project. First of all, I'm not sure if you can see me. Yes. Okay. So first of all, I would like to thank you all for being here today. Although we are in a difficult and strange context, you all made it here, and well, there is nothing more resilient than that. Also, I would like to thank our colleagues from CETACUA, the Barcelona City Council, and UN Habitat for their support on the organization of this event, which finally, it seems that it managed to gather almost 600 people. It is so good to have so many of you here today. On the other hand, I would like to thank all the rescue partners and the European Commission for funding the rescue project and letting us take on this huge challenge that is urban resilience. We live in a world of cities. More than half of the world's population lives in urban areas, a proportion that is expected to increase to 66% by 2050. In addition, climate change is adding pressures and uncertainties that pose challenges to society, economy, and environment, and in particular to urban areas due to the concentration of population and assets. Climate change can affect basic urban services such as water or energy supply. Therefore, managing urban areas has become one of the most crucial challenges of the 21st century. Urban resilience refers to the ability of human settlements to withstand and to recover quickly from any plausible hazards. Resilience against shocks and stresses not only refers to reducing risks and damages from disasters, but also the ability to quickly bounce back to a stable state. While the typical risk reduction measures tend to focus on a specific hazard, urban resilient approaches require a holistic analysis involving different kinds of actors from the public and private sectors. RESCCUE stands for Resilience to Cope with Climate Change in Urban Areas, a multi-sectorial approach focusing on water. The project aims to help urban areas around the world to become more resilient to climate change by providing innovative models and tools to improve the ability of cities to withstand and recover quickly from multiple impacts while maintaining the continuity of services. During the last 4 years, the rescue project has been my life. For quite a long time, I have been repeating over and over one of the mottos of the project. Cities are complex systems of interconnected systems. The rescue consortium, with a varied canvas of partners from different worlds, has been exactly like a city, a complex system of interconnected entities. Managing this has been a challenging but very satisfying task, as we jointly managed to overcome all the problems that appeared along the way. After 4 years of hard work and thanks to the involvement of a multidisciplinary team of experts, here we are hosting the URCC conference, the final event of the rescue project. The Urban Resilience in a Context of Climate Change conference aims to bring together different actors from academia, administrations, businesses, and local communities to discuss multiple aspects of urban resilience and climate change. During the next 2 days, the 600 attendees will be able to learn, share, discuss, and network with urban resilience experts from around the world. Although each one of us is connected from our homes, please take advantage of the Meet Maps platform to talk to other people and network as if we were all together in one place. We will have 2 plenary sessions, 4 rooms for parallel sessions, and more than 90 speakers from many different backgrounds. As you will see, a lot of work has been done in order to help cities increase their resilience to climate change. But this is only the beginning. I am sure that what we have done in rescue will continue to move forward, and cities will become more and more prepared for the coming challenges. So please join us for these next 2 days and let's learn from one another. The URCC conference is about to begin. We are very excited about it and hope that you are too. So let's work together to make our cities more resilient. Thank you. And now we will proceed to Esteban León, head of the City Resilience Global Program of the United Nations, the UN Habitat. So Esteban, whenever you want.
Hi, Mark. Thank you. It's a real pleasure to be with all of you. It's a pleasure to talk after Mark and after Manuel. We became good friends in the last years working not only on this project, but on urban resilience. I think that it's very important to have these meetings. I think it's important to talk about these topics. I mean, urban resilience and climate change are the two key topics to discuss these days. I know that that it has been a bit hijacked, the whole discussion on urban resilience by the COVID-19. But we cannot avoid to discuss that as well, and to make sure that we emphasize the fact that if cities are resilient, are going to most likely be more leave this crisis situation in a better shape, and that's our commitment, and that's why I think we are all here discussing these topics. The other thing is it's a bit of a fresh air to discuss about climate change in a time in the last few months where we have been bombarded by this COVID-19 and the crisis, which if well it's very important. It's in my view it's temporary. I hope it's temporary to this year or perhaps a couple of years. But reality is that climate change is here to stay longer, much longer. And therefore it's time for us to start thinking in that way, that we cannot forget important issues and leave those issues apart because we have some emergencies or urgent issues happening at the moment. As Manuel and Mark mentioned, this has been a 4-year project. It has been a very interesting, I would say, a very interesting trip that we have done. 4 years working on this urban resilience, 4 years focusing on some cities and making sure that we build that resilience in those cities, and 4 years of learning. I would say a journey of learning. We had to have this conference in March. We had to postpone the conference due to the situation of COVID-19, but as you see, I mean, the humanity and the world is quite resilient, and we are able to do it now online as we are doing it now, and probably we have online more participants than we would have had if it was presential. 600 participants is something quite impressive. And that's the fantastic good or let's say advantages of having the online service, for example. Just to give a bit of a background, as Manuel mentioned, UN Habitat City Resilience Global Program is based in Barcelona. We moved here. Is one of the only program of UN Habitat global program that it's outside headquarters, and we are based here in Barcelona for a reason. And the reason is because we decided to start working on urban resilience and making sure that we develop tools and methodologies and make sure that we do it hand by hand with a municipality. So it's a very hands-on methodology and tool. Sorry, that's my dog that is taking there. It's a very hands-on methodology and tools that diagnose resilience in cities. And what's the important part of this? That we cannot reduce risk and we cannot work on resilience if we don't know what the risk is, and we don't know and we don't understand what are the areas that we have to mainstream and make sure that are resilient. And this project of RESCCUE has been essential in that as well, because we've been working together in these cities, and we've been identifying what are the key areas where we have to put more emphasis on building resilience, and that's very important. I think that I get Mark when he says that it has been his life during the last 4 years. I think that it's something that's really, when you go into and start working more and more, you start getting it and start thinking how can we support the processes that we are going on in this world. And in fact, yes, urbanization is something that is going on, and it's not going to change the trend. More and more people are living in urban areas, and if we don't plan better cities, if we don't plan more resilient cities, we definitely are going to struggle in future because, as I said, climate change is something that is here to stay for longer. And it's here to present challenges to us as cities. And we have to be able to respond to these challenges. So well, with this, I want to thank the teams, in fact, because this has been a multi-sectoral, a multi-stakeholders approach. We have many different partners, and we've been working together as one. And it has been quite interesting for years because of that, because we've been working in different areas with different cities, with different partners, in different teams, but with one objective. And that objective was building urban resilience to climate change effects. I thank you for you all to be here. I thank you for the participants to be here. I think that today and tomorrow are going to be very exciting days. I encourage you to stay, to listen at all the discussions, because we are going to meet again tomorrow at the end of the day, and we are going to wrap up. And I hope that this is not the end, but this is the beginning of a change, considering that we have a decade of action, this until 2030, and considering that our challenge to climate change is much, much larger than our current challenges. So please stay, enjoy, and be active. Let's be active for the next 10 years at least, when we have the end of the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, in 2030, and when we have so many commitments and challenges to face. Thank you very much, and let's start working. Thank you. And it's again me. Well, we start the day with a plenary session, and I have the pleasure to have a very distinguished panel for this first session. And it's, again, the topic of the session, it cannot be different: urban resilience in the context of climate change conference. And it's because we want to make sure that we started the discussions with the main issue that we have to discuss. We have here a panel of representatives from different areas, from different sectors. We have Rafaela Matos, who's going to initiate the discussion, followed by Philippe. I have to see the last name, Quevauviller. Pronouncing the last name is a bit difficult. And from the European Commission, and then followed by Juan Francisco Arrazola, and then finally María Salamero. Each one of them will present. We are actually going to start with Philippe, because he has some commitments, and then follow with Rafaela, Juan, and Maria. So Philippe, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for your nice introduction. I'm very happy to be with you all. And well, I'm sorry indeed that I have other commitments that will drive me out from the conference, at least this morning. I will come back later, but so with pleasure. But I've been following Rescue with great interest, because we are obviously in our program at DG Home about security research. We are dealing with all type of hazards, and urban resilience is at the heart of our, I would say, concern regarding not only natural hazards, but also man-made hazards. Well, Barcelona has been facing terrorism attacks, so you know very well about what I'm speaking about. So we are tracking this different type of hazards, and climate change related hazards is certainly one of the research line that we are following up. So Rescue has been interacting with different initiatives that have been running in the last years. We will also continue in Horizon Europe. We are now discussing the work program drafting for the Horizon Europe, and well, you can be sure that climate extreme events in our case will be fully embedded into our program development. So what I would like to do now is to, in a way, provide a holistic view of the disaster risk reduction policies, which we are very closely developing in support of EU policies like the Union Civil Protection Mechanism, but also the UN Sendai Framework for Action. So I'm very happy, Esteban, to see that you are representing UN Habitat here. I'm more closely interacting with your colleagues from the UNDR, Disaster Risk Reduction Department, services, as well as UNESE, you know, in the Transboundary Accidental Convention. So it's, but we are very closely interlinked. So I will be providing this policy background and the principle for something which we are developing, which is related to a community of users of research in this disaster aspect. So I will share my screen. I hope it will work fine. Let me see. Okay, so do you see the screen? Is it okay?
Yes, we can see.
Fine, it's fine.
Okay. So I will use animation. So I hope it will work. So I will be speaking about this community building in disaster risk reduction, and stressing this international challenge. And let me see. Yeah, so I will first don't worry about the figure at the right side, because it's I will elaborate on this. I would like to only highlight with this image that the issue for designing a research program related to different type of policies is extremely complex, as you know, because it involves a number of policy streams, but also a number of actors and a number of technical and scientific challenging. And it is what I will actually describe regarding the challenges related to community building. That is how to make sure that the scientists interact with policymakers, practitioners, that is users, operational people in charge of management of different type of risks, SMEs, industries, and even the citizen dimension. So we are striving to gather actors from upstream, that is research, to downstream development regarding the way tools and technologies can be driven to the market, but as well as key users, policy and practitioners. And in this respect, the policy already needs integrated discussions in a way, because we are dealing with UN international conventions, as Esteban stressed also in your area, but also EU policies and member states which are implementing these policies. And this framework is quite complex because it involves many different type of risks which are interrelated, and so we need to ensure that the policies are consistent. So this Sendai Framework for Action brings an international umbrella for disaster risk reduction, which is translated in the EU through the Union Civil Protection Mechanism, which is ruled by DG ECHO, Civil Protection. And in this respect, we have to consider natural hazards and parent legislation. And in climate extreme and climate change, this is the EU climate adaptation strategy. And we have also policies related to health threats and policies related to man-made hazards. And here I put in little boxes the main actually policies which are concerned by the research that we are funding, and in particular in climate adaptation strategy, the Water Framework Directive, which is in a way dealing mostly with water quality aspects, but also issues related, for example, to drought, while flood is covered by the Flood Directive. Marine Strategy Directive is also dealing with issues which have a climate component, for example, effect of coastal storms and so on. This is part of the DG Environment portfolio, so it's really environmental policies. Then we move to cross-border threats to health. basically, well, the pandemics and infectious disease are covered by the decision 1082 on cross-border threats to health, which is DG Santé. And we have the man-made hazards, which are mostly covered by DG Home, that is the CBRN, so chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and explosive action plan of intentional, I would say, threats, terrorism mainly, infrastructure protection, which is also concerned, protection of public spaces, which has a component about urban resilience, and the Seveso 3 directive, which is dealing with chemical accidents for critical infrastructure, but ruled by DG Environment. So you see that it's a little bit quite a number of policies which has to be interacted because in a way everything is linked, and climate issues are basically related to all these directives.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, you did not hear me?
Oh, no, yes, I lost you. I lost you at some point.
Ah, okay.
I don't know if we are back on. I can hear you now well, so I imagine that everybody's hearing you again.
Okay.
Yeah, we are back. Looks like we are back. Sorry.
Okay, so sorry for that. So I described actually. I will not repeat. Maybe you lost me. So I described the policies, integrated policy approach, and the needs to look at the different streams of policies regarding natural hazards. That is,
Philippe, we cannot see your presentation. We lost your presentation from the screen.
Oh gosh.
If you can put the presentation, or if you prefer to finalize this without the presentation, that's fine as well.
Yeah, because I don't understand why you don't see it, but okay. Well, the time is running, so I will speak freely with the presentation. So I was stressing that we need to have this integrated approach regarding natural and man-made hazards, but we need also to establish clear synergies regarding leading projects related to climate change and urban resilience and so on. So we are striving to bring different actors in building up a critical mass of projects. And these actors are policymakers, obviously responsible for different type of policies, from the international to the local implementation level, research and academia. We have industry SMEs, which have to be in the loop. We have practitioners, firefighters, police, emergency, medical services, and so on, and the civil society dimension, which has to be represented. And all these people actually have a role to play in designing research, and we are trying to consult them as much as possible in the framework of Horizon Europe discussions, because obviously when we deal, for example, with climate extreme risk, we need to ensure that research will be aligned with policy requirements, that the scientific community is able to tackle technological or scientific challenges, that it has a possibility to go to the market, actually, that we have industry SMEs which are ready to take over prototypes or different tools at a certain technological readiness level, at 8 or 7 or 8, and bring that to the market. We need also to ensure that it is well accepted by end users, that is, the people who will be using these technologies, in particular practitioners, and that it is understood by citizens. understood by the civil society, which is something which is not easy. It's very, very integrated framework and which needs different type of communication and different type of approaches. And about when we are discussing freely with all these different actors, we see different angle of views, which allows us to better tailor-made our research in the context of disaster resilience risk management, that is from prevention, preparedness, response, and recovery. And this is fully relevant to urban resilience regarding climate change risks. So we have developed in a way this community approach, which is called the Community of Users for Secure, Safe, and Resilient Societies, in which you are all welcome to become a member, because we are providing a certain number of I would say information about policy development, but also about research, and RESCCUE has its place in this community, obviously. And we are striving to ensure that we will have the leading projects I would say working together and establish possibly synergies. The policy on the other side, which are also interacting and ensuring that there is a full consistency among the different policy streams. But sometimes this dialogue among science and policy is quite difficult. So we need also mediators. We need to have people, institutes, association, whatever, which are bringing the practitioners and the policymakers to the I would say consolidated dialogues with science and policy. So this mediating role through networks or association is for us essential. So it's three main components: the science, this mediating role, and the policy, bringing also the market dimension in the discussions. And if we succeed to have indeed this dialogue established, then we can get actually a stronger links with the overall users. That is, overall users is you, all of you who are listening are potential users of this of information. It's not easy because we are developing this at European level for the time being, but we try to establish links with national or even regional platform to establish relays with local players. And I would like to stress that in Spain, you have a very strong, I would say, initiative in place, because Spain has established a national community of users, which for us is a very good example of what we could achieve regarding the type of, I would say, development that we are making at European level, being relayed at national level. And I went to Barcelona, I went to the Basque Country, speaking with people about the interest that they could have to be linked to this kind of community building. And actually, well, this is maybe, it's not anecdotic, but Spain has increased its rate of success in the last 2 years. In the last call of, I understood it was 7%, something like that. So it has an effect of bringing these people in this community building environment and trying to have a better understanding through the dialogue with different actors. So this type of community building has been running since 2014. I made a push in 2014, which was, well, not fully, well, it was supported, but not fully visible at EU level. Now it's become something that is of strategic nature for the Commission. So from 2021 onward, we want to have a stronger governance for this community building, which will be reflecting the different areas of the research program, the security research program, of which one is disaster resilient societies, which includes climate streams. But we have also critical infrastructure, which includes issues related to urban environment. So you see that RESCCUE is in a way fully in the spirit of what we are pursuing for next year. We are developing regularly events that will take place. Well, due to COVID, we had to cancel a lot, unfortunately, but we are adapting, as you see now. Well, we succeed to have interactions through WebEx or Zoom or whatever. But this is not my cup of tea, frankly speaking. I think that the community building works if we share energy, and energy for me is a dialogue face-to-face and eyes in the eyes, and with a good dinner at the end, you know, of the day, and good wine if you want to share, I would say, a good spirit. And Esteban, you spoke about friendship. I think that community building is also building up human relationship in the work and friendship. So so WebEx is nice, but I hope that we'll soon come back to the possibility to have a physical attendance meeting, and it will certainly take place after spring for us, because we had to cancel everything. So we just to let you know that we are stimulating as much as possible national initiatives. So Spain is a good example for us of what is happening. We are approached by other countries in the EU and associated states, which are also interested by bringing this forward. And we want to make it strategic in support of the Horizon Europe research programming. So you will see, well, if you become a member, you will see some mailings that will be disseminated before the end of the year. We want to develop expert groups in different areas, and we want to have concrete, I would say, outcomes for this community building. So I invite you to be all coming, and I can assure you that I'm challenging very strongly. Obviously, I'm supporting very strongly your field of research, and for Horizon 2020, Horizon Europe, it will be a very strong component of Horizon Europe, not only in the research program, but also as a mission. And maybe you heard about the mission about climate adaptation. So you will have plenty of possibilities to continue your research orientation. And with this, I would like to thank you very much for your attention. Don't hesitate to contact me if you want to have more information about the community of users or research lines. I cannot say much at this stage, but I would say before the end of the year, we'll have full information that we will be able to deliver. Thank you very much, and I wish you a very, very strong success for your conference. Thank you for inviting me to speak.
Thank you, Philippe. It was a very, very good presentation. The fact that you stress the issue that any urban resilience should be comprehensive and holistic is very important. It's one of the main issues that we have to get if we get from this. If we get one message from this conference, I think the message is that it has to be holistic and comprehensive. We cannot build resilience to one sector only or to one part only. We have to involve everyone. It has to be multi-stakeholders, involve everyone in the community, as well as involve all the sectors, and also consider all the challenges that may happen. So thank you for your presentation.
You're welcome. That is my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you.
Really enjoyed it. We have next Rafaela Saldaña, who's from the Laboratorio Nacional de Ingeniería Civil, the National Laboratory of Civil Engineering, and she's going to come as well with a presentation. Rafaela is a civil engineer with water and water engineering PhD, and I hope that you enjoy this presentation. She's going to come next. So, Rafaela, the floor is yours. I think you are on mute, Rafaela. Now.
Okay, now you can listen me?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, great. So good morning, Barcelona. Good morning, everyone, wherever you are. I would like to start to congratulate the organizers of this URCC, Aquatech, UN Habitat, and the city of Barcelona for really showing up truly an example of resilience and putting forward this conference in these so difficult times and amid so high adversities. And I would like, of course, to compliment the colleagues of panel. And I do believe that my presentation that stands for from data and technology to behavioral change are very much in line and following very well what Philippe said. So, how can I this? Can I? Oh.
Do you want to pass to the next
Yes.
slide?
Just click anywhere on the screen.
Yeah.
Click.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
Okay. So in these few minutes ahead, and after sharing a figure, in fact, an eccentric circle diagram that shows very well the relationship between resilience, sustainability, and climate change adaptation, mitigation, and disaster risk reduction, I will touch mainly 2 points: the problem of available data, the imperative of having data that is adequate to the objectives, that has the right resolution in time and space, and it is validated, that is quality control. Because in fact, we have now more and more technology of communication and technology that can treat large volumes of data to make out of this information. But if the basic data, the data from infrastructural, physical, and functional are not good, the technology does not make miracles. So if garbage is in, garbage is out. That's why data is so important. It is very much on our hands to make it available most of the times. And the second dimension I would touch is the people dimension. And this has already been said by my previous colleagues, the city involvement, to have the people's in.
Hello, Rafaela. I don't know if it's only me or if it's for everyone. Yeah, we lost Rafaela, I think.
Can you listen me now?
Yes, now yes. We lost you for some seconds.
And you can see the screen?
No, we cannot see the screen.
Oh my God.
I don't know if there is a problem with the presentations.
The Austin spotlight, yeah, I don't.
Because we can see
Because
you
I
and we
see
can.
the screen. I see the screen.
Just try to share it again. I mean, you
Can
can
you
see
try
the PowerPoint in your computer, but you have to again go share your screen, and then we'll be back to normal.
Now it's blocked. Oh my God.
I think you will have to share it again, or it's.
But it's not
frozen
possible from my side. It's not possible because it is something is not functioning here. Yeah.
Okay, then don't worry, Rafaela. I will present it for you. Okay, one minute, and I will be sharing it.
Okay, so then Mark will be sharing from his side.
Thank you.
And if you just tell him when to pass the slide, we can continue. But if you want to keep going
continue.
without the
Okay. So in these diagrams that it's important that everybody sees, in the inner circle we have disaster risk reduction. That really is now more and more connected with climate change adaptation, since disaster risk management moves very much from reaction to also including prevention as a major objective. When we do actions related to disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation, we are making the cities more resilient. And then we have the other circle. And finally, when we are more resilient solutions, which are largely addressed through climate change adaptation and climate change mitigation, disaster risk reduction, need to contribute as well to the amelioration of the environment degradation and the realities of poverty and inequality. This is the only way so that solutions are effective on the long run. So normally, very often we are touching these aspects, but not linking them as they are in this simple way. Can you pass, Mark? Next slide.
Give me 1 second, Rafaela. I'm just sharing it. One second.
Yeah, we can't see the slides yet, but soon. No, I think, Rafaela, it's very interesting. Again, you know, the recognition that that the interconnections are there. I have some kind of I always have some kind of questions about what the difference between risk reduction and climate adaptation. How can we make sure that we basically harmonize that those connections? Because it seems like when we talk about risk reduction or disaster risk reduction, it's completely separated from the efforts that the community are doing on climate adaptation, right? So I think that's a very interesting conjunction when you put at the center the disaster risk reduction. We can see now the slides. I don't know if you can see it, Rafaela.
Now I have to close mine, probably.
If you close yours, you will see that that Mark is sharing the screen. And we have the circles that you were talking about.
Okay. So you can move. I'm not seeing very well, but you can move. Okay. Here, it is so small that I cannot see. Here you can. Can I put it bigger? Okay. Now it is, no?
You have here the divide, the percentages, no?
Okay, so in this slide, we see the results in rescue from our resilient assessment framework. It was a process, a very robust process, starting from the resilient assessment frameworks that already exist, like from UN Habitat, and we recall these dimensions: the organizational, the spatial, the functional, the physical dimension. For each dimension, we defined objectives, a set of criteria, and then metrics. And what we can see here from the global of our three cities, Barcelona, Lisboa, and Bristol, is that where we have less answers, where we have answered metrics, is mainly dealing with the physical dimension. So is mainly dealing with our assets, with information that is basic to take the good decisions. Because over this data, we have a lot of good tools and technology to make information. But if this data is not complete, is not updated, is not well fitted to the objective, we do not go very far away. So the data still continues to be something really very, very important. Mark, next one. Also, we have organized RESCCUE together with Bingo and Placar last year, the Urban Resilience, the ECA conference. And what came out from the ECA conference in terms of research and practice gaps is also, again, quality data is crucial. And to have quality of data means high quality, but high resolution and the fit for purpose. And when we look to the near future research priorities, also big data to support effective adaptation at different scales relies very much on the existing data on the terrain. So this is really important, and very much, most of the time it is in our hands. It is even not so expensive, but we have to find from our decision makers the priority for it. Next. And we have now really so many powerful technologies. cloud, big data, the information that can be really processed in a very short time, in amounts of money. We have now the 5G and the potential to communicate a lot of data. We have all the biddings in Europe for the 5G. We have even in Portugal a small incidents in terms of diplomacy between with our Portugal with the USA and China. So this is on the way. Next. But again, next, please. But again, and also in terms of sensorization, in terms of collection of data on our assets, we have now possibilities that we didn't have in the past, like the Sensi, the Internet of Things, the drones, but again, and platforms to convey all this data. But again, instrumentation, knowledge of our assets are on the base of the pyramid. Then come all the information that we can use based on the information that we have. So first you need really food, water, and shelter. That means really infrastructure information in good shape. Next. Another dimension is what we have been talking already, the importance of having people on the center of the picture and to have people involved since the very beginning. And I would like to share here, to have this opportunity to share here what we did in Bingo. In fact, some of you know, because some of the rescue partners were also partners in Bingo, and Bingo went from 1 year before rescue to the end of last year. And what we did in Bingo was really to create communities of practice, really groups of stakeholders, of people, diverse in each of the 6 research sites we had, not only cities, because in Bingo we were addressing the development of climate change adaptation strategies for water, not only urban sector, but also agriculture and others. So we set up communities of practice. Next, please. Communities of practice in the 6 research sites, in fact, in 2 cities, Bergen and Barcelona, but also in other regions, like in Germany, in Cyprus, in Portugal, and in Netherlands. And these communities of practice in each of these countries follow the full project since the very beginning. So they were with us, more than 120 institutions and involving more than almost 1,000 people, very diverse, not people with the same interest, but really having people we are disputing conflicting of interests, because water, specifically when it's scarce, make conflicts out of it. So these communities of practice are very important to have people, not only explicit knowledge, people that are researchers and scientists, but also very normal people, people that know very much for the simple fact that they live and they experience every day. And one important thing also out of these communities of practice is that the consensus is not necessarily what we want. What we want is to find a common background, to accept it, and to be committed with it. So in complex problems like these, we don't need to have the consensus, fully consensus, but still an agreement to go ahead. Next, please. We had also these communities of practice, not so much along the project, but during the WP6 development. So during the development of the research assessment framework and the research assessment, the resilient assessment plans in each of the cities, Lisboa, Bristol, and Barcelona. And I do believe this was very productive, very fruitful, these links and this connection. And there was a lot of information and news coming from everybody, from the audience. Next. So the key success factors we have came out from Bingo, and I think they are very shareable to other situations, is that the important thing is really to share common framework since the very beginning, as we did in RESCCUE as well. Cooperate since the very beginning, and think that we are not using what we used in the past. It was, we were making the studies, making the adaptation plans, and then deliver it to the user. Now, this is no more the way. So they are not externalities, but the secret is really co-production, as now it's mentioned. And I do believe also in the fact that social scientists are very important in the process, because we engineers normally do not have the tools, the ability to make these things function. So, and I think a good dialogue and the good expertise of social sciences, specifically those that are expert in collaborative approaches, are really needed. Next, please. In Bingo, we had these 6 research sites, as we called, only 2 cities, but other regions. And we had 6 countries with 6 different languages. Can you imagine? More than 1,000 people, and really we find out that we were able, at the final end of each of the workshops, it was 6 or 7, we were able really to convey a common approach in all these different countries, different cultures, different languages even. Of course, the language, a common language was English after, but all the workshops run in our own languages, as you in Barcelona have also did. Next. Okay, there was an animation here just to show a little bit this puzzle that looks to be very complicated, but in fact, with this help of someone that make the right tools so people can really interact, make things easier. This is an example just to share with you that one of our last workshops was really a living lab, as it is called. And in each of the places, we decided to elect an impossible mission. Say, what do we want really to make out of this project, that we, at the beginning, we find, but this is not possible, and this will be possible. In each site, we decide what would be our impossible mission. In our case, in the case of Tagus, we decided that we would like to put the results of our project in the political arena. And so what is normally not easy. And so finally, we did a policy brief regarding the Tagus area, which by the way is linked with Spain, and there's a transnational river. And this policy brief, very concrete, is now in the hands of our minister, and we do believe that it will change some of the approaches. So what I want to say is that this approach, having different diverse people with some techniques like role playing, each one play the role of other. So I put myself on the shoes of others. This is not easy, but when it comes, really we can understand each other much better, and action comes not so difficulty as in the past times. Next, please. So we were so happy with the results of this process that we developed. This was not part of the committed deliverables, but we developed the guidelines for win-win collaborations between researchers and stakeholders, so kind of 12 golden rules. That is now in our website, and I do believe this can be of help for other aspects of resilience. And so with this, next please. With this, I would like to conclude. And again, as take-home messages, I would say that data from our assets is really key. we have to invest in this to have the return of our resilient measures, and also people is on the really center of everything. So if we have these two aspects taken into consideration in the right consideration, I think we will get our targets. Thank you very much for your attention, and sorry for this problem that I don't know exactly who comes from.
Thank you, Rafaela. Yeah, sorry for the technical problems as well. I know it's disturbing to have a presentation and then lose it in the middle. I think you raised two issues that are very important. One is that the data and the importance of having data as the key, let's say, ingredient for decision taking. And I hope that we initiate that process all together, right? I mean, if we don't have the data and information, how can you take decisions? It's ridiculous. It's the same as I mentioned before. If you don't have a good risk identification and mapping, how can you reduce risk that you don't know? So I think it's important. And the other part that I really like is the community of practice. And the community participation. At the end of the day, even when you talk about resilience infrastructure, if you don't consider the social aspects and the people, and you don't involve people into these discussions, the discussions are not fruitful. There is no reason why to construct any infrastructure if you are not considering people and for people. So I think that it has been quite lightening. The presentation. Thank you, Rafaela. Because we saw that the first two presentations we had some problems with the presentations, we already charged the next two presentations into our system. So if you, Juan Francisco, would prefer to go through your own presentation, we can try that, but in case that fails, we have a backup plan now. We are resilient. We are going to make it. So let me introduce Juan Francisco Arrazola, the third panelist in our panel. He comes from the Spanish Ministry of the Ecological Transition. Juan Francisco has a master's degree on forest engineering and business in economics and a bachelor's in economics from UNED. Juan Francisco, as we said, if you would like to have to manage your own presentation initially, that would be good. And if we have a problem, we are going to monitor from here. Okay. Over to you, Juan Francisco. The floor is yours.
Okay. Good morning, and thanks for having me here today. It's a pleasure for me to have the opportunity to speak about such an interesting topic today, in these times when I think resilience is more important than ever. And I think resilience is a good concept to face the uncertainty that every risk brings with it. As one important American political said, there are things we know, we don't know, and things we don't know. And I think climate change is the paradigm of these unknowns. But we don't know. What we don't know is that resilience is one of the most powerful tools we have to deal with both of them. And now that one of the most important and powerful financial instruments in Europe has the word resilient in it, we have to take advantage of this situation, because there are 400 billion euros waiting for us to be used in resilience. I'm going to try to share my presentation. Can you see my presentation now?
Yes, it's fine.
Yes.
Oh. Sorry. Can you see now the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Well, when I start to prepare my presentation, I start to search in the web, and I read this paper about resilient thinking and what it means. And as we can see in this picture from the paper, the resilient concept started to take off around 2000 and is now an important concept in the academy. But then I read this phrase from the description of the Congress, when you can see that the repercussion of each crisis depend on the city preparedness to respond to specific predicament, But I want to remark these words: citizens perceive and react. And I'll focus my presentation in how citizens perceive and react to this risk, and what we have to do to engage citizens in order to have resilient cities. Then I went to Google Trends, that I suppose many of you know. It's a tool that Google has, and you can search for a term and you obtain the tendency over time. Then I searched for the word resilience, and things look great. Our word is clearly in an uptrend. Then I add the term sustainability, because it's usually linked to the term resilience. And well, we have kind of a side marker now. Maybe people is tired of this term. And only for the record, each value of the graph you can see here takes place in July and December. Maybe we prefer not to think about these problems when we know we are going to do things that are not that sustainable. Well, I continue, and I added climate change to our search. We have a bigger volume of search about climate change, obviously, but surprisingly, it's not in an uptrend like I thought it would be. Then I continue my search, and if we found out and ask Google about other stuff non-related with this topic, what happens? Well, if we put Trump into the equation, this is what we get. We cannot see our resilience and climate change search. And what happens if we add COVID-19? Well, this is what happens. You can see the volume of the searches for this really important issue, okay? But is not climate change a really important issue too? Well, we get to the end of this rough and ready analysis, and what I want to show you with this graph is that we need to put into perspective what is trending topic in Academy Street if we want to get to Main Street. For these reasons, we think if we want our citizens to be resilient in order to build resilient cities, we still have a really big challenge in the first step: risk awareness. And from the Ministry for the Ecological Transition, we are working hard on this right now. One of the big problems we have when we try to increase risk awareness in case of floods is a consequence of policies from the past. For years, the flood risk management main objective was to eliminate the hazard through public works that reduce the hazard, creating a false sense of security. Here in Spain, we have another problem because of the lands we constructed for water supply purposes have a similar effect, because eliminate some types of floods, or at least increase its return period. That leads to occupy areas where the hazard still exists. This way we have a lot of examples of towns with this pattern, where you can see here the old medieval town up in the hill, well above the worst flood level, and the new town right in the middle of the waterway. Well, of course, as Buff says, the most important thing to do if you find yourself in a hole is to stop digging. Maybe this is not necessarily what comes to our mind when we talk about resilience, but I think it's important to remember. And what's the reason why one of the first measures adopted in Spain after the approval of the Floods Directive was to stop the occupation of flood-prone areas through land use limitations. Thus, all these activities are not allowed in the preferential floodway right now. You can't build new hospitals, new schools, new commercials, new malls, and even new houses if they are not over the flood level. I think this is a very important first step if we want to have resilient cities, but we still have too many cities in flood-prone areas. And to be resilient, we need incremental adaptation. However, as I said, if we suppress any small shock from the system, it's impossible for the system to become resilient. And this is what we have done for years, and many places we keep doing now. And as I said, that we have done with our cities regarding floods. By suppressing small risk, we have developed zero resilient cities. And when the unexpected eventually arrives, and it always does, cities collapse. In the field of forest fire management, for example, you can do controlled burns to maintain the system resilient. But at least for now, when you mix floods and cities, that is not an option. But human nature gives us another options to overcome this obstacle. Because human being is the only animal able to feel fear, only imagining fear, we can use education and information to increase awareness of flood risk, and thus setting the foundation for having resilient citizens. To achieve this goal, we make informative documents about risk, and we are developing on-site information sessions in the frame of our flood risk management plans. We know approximately what the rate of decline on remembering about past events is, as you can see in this graph. When the flood passes, people start to forget about. So we can try to substitute the effect of the event through educational campaigns, sustained over time. What we don't know now is how to introduce the climate change factor in this equation. Obviously, we have to inform people about the ways that climate change could modify the current hazard. But I think there is an important factor that we mustn't forget. If you engage people telling them something that takes longer to arrive than you calculated, or that is significantly different, and it's for sure this will occur somewhere around the globe, you will exhaust their attention, and it will be really difficult to get here again. So if we introduce climate change in this awareness process, the challenge becomes even bigger because of the temporal frame of the impact we are talking about. And I think we face a really huge task. Well, another thing we are doing now to develop this approach is to help some stakeholders to become more resilient. Therefore, we published these guidelines last year, one about how to evaluate the resilience of your city against flood risk, and the other about how to better prepare our buildings to cope with floods. And right after we finished these documents, we went to the field and began to work with stakeholders to put into practice the recommendation with some pilot studies. These are the places where we started. Some are, you can see some urban areas, other are small village where there are important buildings, but anyway, we are starting and we are going to continue making this process in other areas, urban areas, bigger than the first we made. Then, even though our document has the word resilience in its title, we think it's better not to use such an abstract concept in the first approach, at least in some cases, because if you go to a community with flood problems and start to give a speech about resilience, you are going to have to run pretty fast to escape from their life. This way, we go to the cities like this, talk with the city council, talk with associations, and ask for their problems, and make a preliminary analysis in which we study the transport network, the power and gas supply, the telecommunication network, hospitals, schools, and this kind of buildings. And we propose solutions and help stakeholders to implement these measures. But I want to remark the main objective of this project is not to solve a specific problem, but to increase risk awareness and disseminate knowledge that become an example for other places and other communities. Well, to conclude my presentation, I will use this phrase that I read from Dr. Kringle, that is that resilience is a matter of software rather than a hardware consideration. And I will add that behind a software, we need persons that know how to run it. That is the reason because we are very focused now on educate people, inform people about the problem, ask people about their problems, and act in function of these questions. This way, we have a long way to achieve this goal, but I'm convinced that resilience is one of our best hopes to deal with the empire of uncertainty. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Juan Francisco. A very interesting presentation indeed. I like your research on the wording for Google search, and I think that it's something that I mentioned at the very beginning. Sometimes what's urgent takes over the space of what's important.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's human nature, right? We focus onto the urgent issues, but our task is while being methodological, our task will be to always remind what's important in life and what's important for this world, and that's something that during this project of rescue has been one of our main let's say objectives and tasks, as well as the work we do in our program to make sure that we focus on what's important and that we provide recommendations that are objective based on data and information, but at the same time that solve a problem and it doesn't become so abstract that nobody knows how to eat it, right? So I really enjoy your presentation. Thank you for this one.
Thank you.
Now we have and the other good part is that we didn't have any problem with your presentation. I was expecting already to be cut at some point, so that's great. Maria Salamero, we have you as our last speaker. We are right on time. We are perfect, so no worries. Maria Salamero is an industrial engineer from the Barcelona School of Industrial Engineering, and also from the University Polytechnic of Catalonia. and she's she works for Aguas de Barcelona, or how do I translate that? Barcelona Waters. You're going to help me, Maria, with that one.
I want Barcelona.
The floor is yours, Maria.
Okay, I think I have problems with my camera. I tried it before, but now I don't know what happens. I'm just a second. I'm trying to open the laptop so we solve this problem.
We can see your phone now.
Yes. Sorry. Okay, so
Perfect.
you see me now? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so good morning, everyone, and thank you for organizing this Congress in a really difficult moment, and thank you for inviting me to share with you some thoughts. Okay, I'm going to try to share the screen. Okay, there.
Yep.
Okay, is it correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let's go. Being the last, it's difficult in this opening plenary session because most of the things they have been already said by my colleagues. So I will try to focus on a very practical point of view and a point of view from a city, Barcelona, and the water service that we manage. No. First of all, I would dare to say that 2020 probably will be remembered as a year of the resilience. Resilience is a concept that we all knew before, of course, but many of the society, they didn't really know about this concept. And I think that this will be one of the top words that we will remember in this year. Talking about water, most of the activities we carry are related with water. And sometimes we don't really are aware of that. No, do you know how many water takes it to produce, for instance, a pair of jeans? It's 10,000 liters. Do you know how many water do we need to produce 1 kilogram of meat? It's almost 15,000 liters, and etc. So we know that water is important, but we don't know to what extent. And more about water, someone said some years ago that regarding water and future, the next world water will be over water. The next world war, I mean. Well, maybe this is a catastrophic point of view, but what it's true is that regarding the development goals, we have a specific development goal, number 6, regarding clean, accessible water for all, that it's an essential part of the world we want to live in. So really, water, it's important. Let me talk a little bit about Aguas de Barcelona, okay? And regarding a managerial point of view, although we have been serving the city for more than 150 years, we have been a PPP model of service, of water service since 2013. This is, here you can see the shareholders distribution and our mission. But regarding a more operational point of view, what's Aguas de Barcelona? Here we have, you can see, some of our main data. We are more than 1,000 employees. We serve more than 3 million people. We are working in 23 municipalities regarding drinking water service, and more or less 40 municipalities regarding sewerage, sewer management and wastewater treatment plants. We have more than 12 water treatment plants combining drinking water and wastewater treatment plants. And another data that I would like to share is that we manage more than 6,000 kilometers of network. This means supply and wastewater. Okay, so big numbers. But what I prefer to explain about Aguas de Barcelona is regarding the company in terms of value creation. We contribute to the GDP of the Barcelona area in almost 0.5%. Okay, we are, as I said before, more than 1,000 employees, but we are capable to generate employment in terms of almost 7,000 equivalent jobs. This means direct, indirect, and induced work. Regarding the local procurement, it's 70% is provided by metropolitan area of Barcelona providers, suppliers, and then almost 10% are national suppliers. That means that we contribute to generate local economy. And then the last point I wanted to share to you is the investment that we do in the community. It's almost 25% of the free tax profit. It means that it's more than one of the shareholders we have regarding they have more or less 15%. Or so the social investment in the community is more that some of our stakeholders, shareholders, I mean, they benefit from. So this was about, I was in Barcelona just to know a little bit what are we doing here. But going back to resilience, resilience and Barcelona, I think there are two words that go together, and I will try to explain you why. First of all, in terms of water resources, we are located, as you know, in a Mediterranean climate zone. This means moving from droughts situations to flood situations constantly. The graph you see here, it's just more or less, 3 years. And you can see in the graph that this is the main combination of the resources we have. Mainly, it's 90% coming from rivers, okay, and from Ter River, which is located in the north of Catalonia. It's not in the metropolitan area, and then in Llobregat. This system is not a very resilient system. It's really affected by the meteorological and climate situations. And as you see in the graph keeps going like a sinus, okay? And when it goes to this yellow area, it means that we are in pre-alert situation. This means that we could have scarcity problems, so we have to be prepared as a water service. But then when it goes up, it goes, for instance, in this dark blue. It means that our dams are almost full, so we have to start evacuating water. So imagine this 3 times a year, this change of situations. So regarding also these impacts in climate and geographic resilience, I would like to share to you these 2 simple images. One regarding local resources. We have a dependence on non-local resources on 30%. This means the Ter River, but this will have to change because there is an agreement in order not to take more water from that river, to be more like independent in water resources terms. So we have some work to do here. And regarding resilience, we are 90% low resilience resources because, as I said before, we depend mainly on rivers. So this also has to be solved. This is the first topic I wanted to share to you regarding the resilience or non-resilience of our water resources. Then going back also to the impacts that this Mediterranean climate has in Barcelona. Here you see several situations. The first image is a flooding event in Barcelona. Although, you know, we have had since many years ago detention tanks in order to avoid flooding. We still have some events that make these impacts in the city due to this change of the climate patterns, okay, and the meteorological patterns. Then down we have this image of the overflows. As a Mediterranean city, we live from our tourism. The beaches are really important to us, and when we have these events, really the impact not just for the sea but also for the economical activity, it's very important. So these are 2 kind of impacts regarding the extreme flooding events. But in the other side, we have, sorry, this is in Catalan, but here we can see some some tips in order that we give to the population when we are in a scarcity moments. Tips in order to save water in the bathroom, in the kitchen, when you clean or when you feed your plants. So we have recently never gone to water cuts due to scarcity, but what is true is that we have to keep the population very aware of this situation and sensibilize them in order to save water. Okay, but at this moment, Barcelona and the area of Barcelona is one of the areas that has less consumption per habitant within the European Commission. So, well, we are really aware of this situation. Then, how we manage this resilience? One important thing is to be prepared, and we have this ISO 22301 that helps us to be prepared and to have a model regarding business continuity that makes us have plans, have analysis, have solution test, train our people, and guarantee that all the system is working all the time. And these events that we have seen help us to improve this system. But at the end, we have been working since, I should say, since 2015 in this system. We have the accreditation since 2016, and each year we pass the accreditation and we certify, and we have like tests that prepare us as a company to be more resilient. And then when these events came, we are more prepared. But of course, after these events, we do some analysis again, and we improve our system. Then regarding also managing resilience, one of our plans, the water treatment plan, the drinking water treatment plan of San Juan d'Espí, is considered as critical infrastructures by law. Okay, there is a directive in Europe and in Spain also. So with the Ministry of Defense, this is considered a critical infrastructure. So it means that it has to follow some protocols that guarantee the preservation of this plan in many terms, but also in the terms of providing the service of water. So this helps also us to manage the resilience. Now I would like to share with you three events, I would say, that has made us to real train us in terms of resilience, and then to do some adaptations, as I was saying, in the system. This first one is the one we had in 2016 in Barcelona. It was thought at the beginning that some failure in the electrical service collapsed one pumping station because an oscillation of the electrical provision, let's say, and collapsed this pumping station, and then broke the pipe and provoked these inundations of the one of the principal ways surroundings that we have here in Barcelona, and then provoking also that one of the most important hospital, Valdebron, was without water during 2 hours. Okay, this was the first analysis, but then after the event, after we solved, because it was just 2 hours that the hospital had not water, and it was more or less 6 hours that the traffic was cut, we reanalyzed the problem, and we discovered it was not because of this electrical failure, it was because of the
Maria, I think we lost Maria again. If we wait some seconds, probably she will come back, or maybe you lost me. I don't know.
We can hear you, Esteban. We cannot hear Maria. It seems like the camera changed and there's something happened with you, Maria. We can see you from another camera, but we can't hear you now. It's like the configuration changed.
Oh, you can see her. Okay. Maria, you are on mute according to my screen.
Now?
Yeah, perfect. Now we got you again. Yes.
I don't know what happened. And do you see the presentation or not?
No. Again, we don't see the presentation.
Vale.
Do you have many more slides?
No, just 3. Okay. I share again. Yes.
Yeah. Try again, and yeah, we see now. We see now the presentation.
Oh. Okay. I just will put the presentation in. Okay.
Yeah, you are in slide 13.
See. Okay.
13,
is it correct?
13.
Yes, I see it's like 13.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I was sharing with you this cascading effects of this this problem we had and the importance of having an analysis after the problem in order to detect which was the real problem. And it was not really an electrical problem. It was a problem of that the pipes were too old and probably not perfectly installed in the moment that the works were done. So what was the learning here? The learning was that first we had to change the priority of the investments and renovation of this pipe. So we prioritize these works in the first point, and then we had also a work with the hospital with Valle d'Hebron, because that day they were doing some maintenance of the tanks they have in order to be resilient on water cuts. So we have changed something on the operation in order to be more resilient. The second example I wanted to put you, it's Gloria. You know, Gloria was in January 2020, and in this case, the effects in our city were mainly the blockage of the principal sewers we have in the littoral of the coast. Okay, and as you see, it's terrible. But here we were aware, the city was aware that. Also, the sewers are very old, and we need investment on that point. So it's not exactly learning; it's like knowing that this could happen and this happened at the end. So we need investments, and this means money. Okay, and finally, the famous COVID. Okay, I think it has put all the water companies in a really difficult situation. We are an essential service, as I said before, so we had to keep serving the population, but on the other side, we had to protect our employees also. So half of our employees are blue collars, so they had to be in work, they had to be working. The other part, we could go home, but the rest, they had to be on site. So it means they had to sleep in the water treatment plants. Okay, you can see here the different camp. Okay, they had to be in 3 shifts in order to not to mix between them and to guarantee their healthy and their stability. But we had to feed them. We had to psychological help them to be like 15 days each month confined in a plant. Okay, so it was really really resilient and learning how to be more resilient within Aigües de Barcelona and within all other utilities. And I think that it took a full Congress to work on or to explain all this situation, but we had to develop, as I said, new things. We didn't have trucks in order to sleep in the trucks, so we had to rent them. Then we didn't have a system to feed these persons because all our restaurants inside the plants were closed. So we had to manage also this delivery. And also we prepared them psychological. So we had to have some people from the company to keep calling them, doing video conferences and preparing also video conference with their families to be well accompanied during this hard process. So besides the typical resilience we were used to, we had to develop other skills. And to finish and to give you some thoughts, and many of them they have been said by my colleagues, I think that resilience needs an holistic approach. And that this means, from my point of view, co-governance, public and private working together. This needs legislation. We have some legislation, as you have seen, on critical in facilities, etc. But probably we need more legislation. As some of my colleagues said, we need data, models, and planning. But without money, without economical resources, but because here in Barcelona, we have many plans, many data, many models, and we know what has to be done. The thing is, we need the money to do this, okay? Then, of course, we need a combination of digital and green technology. It's not about concrete only, it's about other technologies. And here we have the innovation that someone said before. And we need two soft works to be done, no? And I have shared to you, no, preparing and training and re-preparing and retraining, because the challenges have been changing. And finally, communication, internal communication management, because during the COVID situation, we have had to work a lot on internal communication within our company, and also external communication to explain what are we doing and to keep the population safe and knowing that they will be given the service of the water in the best way. And the example is that during COVID, no water cuts have been done, and all has worked together with a big effort of everyone, and especially of the blue collars of our company. So this is the things I wanted to share with you, and I hope you have a nice 2 days working on resilience and sharing knowledge and helping us to be more resilient. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria. Excellent presentation. You know that water is one of my weaknesses and obsessions. I torture my team all the time talking about water sources and water use and water management. And what you mentioned about the potential crisis of water is something that really spooks me out. Because if you think what happened in Cape Town some months or years ago, you start thinking like, wow, I mean, something that we perhaps in some places take for granted is not so secure, and water is one of these issues. The other part is that we usually do encounter in all cities that water is one of the main problems. It was fantastic. It's not because I'm a organizer, but I must say it was really great to have you all here. I think that you all presented the issues in a very interesting way. Philippe, starting with this holistic approach to urban resilience, and also defining what risk reduction can do to support the overall objective of urban resilience. I think it was great. He also reminded us about the Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction, which is one of the large agreements that we have committed to as nations. And by the way, by 2030, we also have to deliver. I mean, the Sendai framework, I wouldn't say expires, but the objectives end in 2030. In 2030, we have to come with something stronger, and we hope that we can achieve those. Similar as the Sustainable Development Goals that end in 2030, and we are going to review what happened in this last decade. I have to mention that the Paris Agreement for Climate Change is another of the large agreements that we didn't mention in this session, but I think it's very important. And of course, the new urban agenda, that for us, UN Habitat is our main flag, and I think it's the recipe to try to do better planning and better financing. As I said, Philippe was very holistic, and I like that. Rafaela was key in presenting her two main points that I think we have to emphasize. Data and information are key for any decision taking. If we have the right data and information for taking decisions, we most likely will let's say, aim well at what we want to do. But the other aspect that was very important that Rafaela mentioned is the people's center approach and the community of practice, and that it should definitely be our main objective, to work and prepare for people's quality of life, leaving no one and no place behind. I think is the main issue. Juan Francisco, you really surprised me with all your your research and data, and confirm something that it's a worry for all of us. We are very much now obsessed with the COVID-19. We've been obsessed with other emergencies. It doesn't mean that it's not important. Don't take me wrong. I mean, it's COVID is very important because it's urgent and it's the crisis of the moment. But let's not forget that the future and the most difficult crisis we are confronting and we will confront is climate change. And you can see it now with these presentations on water, for example. What's going to happen when we have more water due to the level of seas and less land? And how are we going to make sure that we have fresh water sources? And how are we going to make sure that we use and manage those waters in the right way? So it was quite enlightening, your presentation on how much we discuss about Trump and how much we discuss about COVID versus how much we discuss about resilience, sustainability, and climate change. It's incredible, but it's true. It's human nature. And well, I mean, just to finalize with what Maria presented, that it's I think it's one of the key points where you see that one of the sectors are so key, but at the same time have to be linked to the rest of the sectors. So if I have to summarize in one paragraph or one line these panel discussion, which was very rich and very broad, is that we have to use a multi-stakeholder, multi-sectoral, and multi-hazard approach to urban resilience. That we have to make sure that that we support processes and we center all our actions into people and planet, without forgetting planet, and that we have to make sure that while we deal with the urgent things, we don't forget the important things. And I think that this panel was quite interesting in presenting this. Presenting what the challenges we are looking at and the potential solutions that we are all looking in our own small niche. I want to thank you, thank the four of you for presenting. A fantastic job. We are going to keep the presentations if you don't mind, and if somebody wants to see them again due to our technical glitches, we can pass them if you agree. With this, we start the first day of the conference. We'll have a very rich discussions today and tomorrow. We invite you all to be part of this and to connect, and we are definitely looking forward to rich discussions. I think we started with the right foot and with a fantastic panel, and we are right on time. So I invite you to reconnect at 12 at noon when we are going to start the different discussions. Thank you very much. Thanks to our partners. Thanks to the Barcelona City Council. Thanks to CETACUA. And thanks to this distinguished panel. Thank you. And
Thank you.
I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Esteban. Thank you, all of you. Before going to the break, I would like to take advantage of well, we're 5 minutes ahead of schedule. It won't take that long. I just wanted to share my screen to show you the platform. As you know, all the participants are connecting through the Meet Maps platform, and I just wanted to show you a couple of functionalities, because as I said before, even though everyone is connected from their own homes, we would like you to take advantage of all of us being here at the same time, so we can still do some networking and connecting to other people, etc. So here in the Meet Maps platform, you have the attendees tab. If you click here, you can see everyone, so all the attendees that are registered in the platform. And in here, if you want to talk to someone, or there is someone that you've been watching as a speaker, etc., or you have any curiosity, you can just click here on message and write and talk to Beniamino, for example. Beniamino is, well, actually, he's a colleague of mine from Aquatech, but you can chat with him in real time. Beniamino, I hope that he sees this and he replies. So the idea is that you can chat with anyone who is actually connected to the Meet Maps platform, and with this we can ensure that still we can have some networking and some discussions. In addition, we have the meetings one-to-one tab. The idea is that, taking advantage of the few breaks that we have. Now here Beniamino is okay. I go back to the chat. So Beniamino here is replying. Okay, so we can have this discussion almost in real time. In addition, as I said, we have the networking one-to-one. So the idea is that on the several breaks that we have, like now from 11:30 to 12 today, Tuesday, the 20th. So the idea is that you can here set your availability. So if you are available, you can say it here, or you can request meetings to talk to other people, and you can take advantage of these short breaks that we have. So the idea is that we take advantage of the coffee breaks and lunch breaks, etc., and after the sessions, so on the afternoon. So take advantage of those breaks to connect to other people with more, let's say, scheduled meetings rather than the chat. And finally, before closing, just so you know, for the coming session, now we had the plenary session, so there was only one room. The idea is that the coming sessions, the coming blocks, will be split into 4 separate rooms. What you have here in the agenda tab is the several parallel sessions. So we have room 1, room 2, 3, and 4. You just have to pick one and you go into that room, and in there you will see, so in this case, Pere Malgrat is convening this session about climate impact assessment, and here you have the several speakers, a short description, etc. It will be the same live streaming coming from Zoom through Vimeo. And also the idea here is that you have today, Tuesday, and then tomorrow on Wednesday you have the same. We will do today 2 blocks of parallel sessions, and then we'll close for the day. And tomorrow, again, we have parallel sessions, and then we're closing with closing plenary with some discussions with some of the participants, conveners from different sessions. This is everything from my side now. So now it's we have half an hour break, and let's talk. Let's see you again at 12. Thank you very much.